back to Muse on the Mic. I'm Riley.
And I'm Emily. Thanks for joining us again on another episode of Muse on the Mic. Make sure you are subscribed to our Patreon for all of our extra spicy episodes and subscribe to the YouTube channel, share all the videos, follow us on social media. You can find all of those in the caption below. And a little bit about us before we jump in and Riley introduces our topic of the day. We are two owners of a spicy massage parlor in Toronto, Canada. We've been open for over 14 years, and we decided to start a podcast to talk about our journey as owners, the adventures in the adult industry, being entrepreneurs, men, sex, women, love, lust, kinks, everything. We're talking about everything. Talk about everything. I think it's awesome. Right? What the heck are we talking about today?
Today is an adventure. And some of my favorite stories, I think yours too, are the ones that we go way back with. So we are like traveling back to 2009 here, to one of the stories we've been hinting at through a few episodes. And this is about the OG Duck. And we've referenced him and our shitty tattoos to commemorate him in a previous episode as well. So we're going to really dive into the OG Duck and tell you how this all played out.
This is like, to me, this is like season one of our era of Muse and like the drama. It should have been a bunch of red flags and clues to us that this is not going to be as easy as we think it's going to be. Yeah. There were humbling moments. There were surreal moments. There was a lot of weirdness with the OG Duck. And some of these stories, like you said, are my favorite. They're sentimental. They've got nostalgia to them. It's pre-opening day. So it's like the beginnings or the origin. And it's like the prequel to everything that we started off with episode 1 of this podcast on. So I can't wait to tell this story. I'm sweating a little. It still makes me stress.
Well, let me start us off, because this is, like you said, this is going back a long way. This is pre-Muse. Muse was an idea. It was, a wish and a dream. And we were, out there searching and looking for a location. And could we actually make this work? And the OG Duck, I believe, was one of the first places or massage parlors we had looked at to possibly purchase. And this gentleman, the OG Duck is a male, was a character that we will never forget. And I think now we laugh at it and like we can have fun with it and joke about it on the pod. But at the time it was stressful. It was high stress. He was an erratic man, very hard to do business with. And we were rookies, and he was like a sketchy veteran. Like, it was really unknown territory. We liked his location, and we were like, we want to purchase this. What's the path we have to take? And it went sideways and downhill from there.
Yeah, he took us on a roller coaster ride, which was in hindsight unnecessary. It was his own, it's flakiness isn't even the right word for him. First of all, sobriety was an issue with this man. And when he would disappear, it was on benders of God knows what, for God knows how long, regardless of whatever meetings had been planned. Just if he wanted to get out of town and get out of, sanity, he just would. Fuck everyone else that has meetings or plans or needs him on a certain date for something or anything. He was a character. I think he thought we were absolutely ludicrous. We were just two idiot girls to him, just showing up, being like, these two fucking broads just
we're just kids to him, I think. I think he just looked at us like we're two young kids that don't know what the fuck they're doing.
I mean, we kind of were.
I know.
In all honesty, we had two nickels to rub together, a bit of a dream, no real plan. And we just like waltzed into his world, like, name a price, bro.
I know.
Yeah. But we really did want that location. I know that initially we both really had our hearts kind of set on it. It made sense for what we wanted to do. There was like a historical element to this location. It's been around for decades. There was a previous owner before him. It used to be one of the best places to go to way before I started in the industry, so a long time ago. And we thought, why not bring it back to its original glory? Why
Mhm.
not make it what it once was? All of our fresh, new, juvenile ideas.
Yeah.
We were as green as greens could be. And we just thought this was the greatest place, the greatest solution to our mission. And now in hindsight, looking at how much time we wasted on this man, that's how invested we were on getting this spot. We wanted this spot, his license, his location. It was the targeted focus. And I remember when we eventually bit the bullet and had to start looking elsewhere, I was a disgruntled shopper after
I
that.
know.
I was like, I'll go see it, but I don't want it. What I
I
want is
know.
that one.
And you know what? We wanted it so bad. I'm surprised. We believe heavily in like manifesting things that I'm
Yeah.
surprised it actually didn't work out because that's how like focused we were on this location. And do you remember walking in to view it for
Yes.
the first time?
I mean, the universe did us a favor because we would have probably been stuck in a world and with characters and drama that we wouldn't have been familiar with, wouldn't have signed up for.
Hmm.
Also, none the wiser to the drama that we were about to enter once we actually opened Muse. But on that mission of trying to arrange these meetings with him, also included him giving us a formal tour of the spa. And if my
Hmm.
memory is correct, when we finally went to go see it, I don't think he was there, or I don't think he even came late.
I don't remember him being there either. So
Yeah, he's not in like my visual memory of what occurred, but I'll never
yeah.
forget it. I know exactly what the place looks like. It's now under a different owner. They haven't changed the front facade very much, so it still looks the same. And I remember first walking in, and there's a lady at the desk that was just a sight to behold, and
Mhm.
not in the best way. I'm trying to say this gracefully and nicely, but like a cigarette dangling from her mouth with an ash like this long on it, yelling and screaming, barking out orders to, I guess, staff that would have been behind the front desk, like in the rooms and walls behind her, but just hollering like you would downstairs, like calling your mom, like mom, like just
You know,
screaming out.
you know who she reminds me of? I don't know if you know this movie, the original Annie, the woman that owned the orphanage.
Very much, very much. But I will
Yeah.
say it was a slight element of the mom in something about Mary, Mary's mom.
Yes. Yes, that's
Yeah,
a good one.
there's like a little cross of those two in there. And that was it. And we were a little jarred by it, but at the same time, we weren't that familiar with the body rub world. And this was, I think for me, my first time walking into a Toronto body rub. I visited or interviewed at a few others. Um, but I remember just thinking to myself, like, oh, is this what this is like? Judging
It's just
everyone under one experience.
well, but then I mean I think perhaps she even gave us the tour.
Yeah,
Um, but then we're walking around the facility and you know what? In fairness, we were probably in a very similar age category to their staff. So they
100%.
probably didn't know we were potential like prospects to buy the business. They probably thought we were coming for an interview. So
For
they were
sure.
like hating us and like hissing at us, like literally hissing like snakes. So I was like, oh my God, like we need to leave. These women were they're something different.
It was something I've never experienced before. I remember we were almost on like the tail end of the tour, and I think the last room was the staff room. Anyway, we're going up the stairs to go back up to the front and finish up our tour, say thank you and goodbye. And this is literally when the girls started hissing, and they were literally like, both of us being like muttering under our breath to each other, going, "What the fuck was that? Did you hear that? There it is again!" Like it's just constant, and we
This place, those girls are fired.
fired. I will not have this in my house. It was
No,
crazy. But we scurried up the stairs really fast and we're very much just like, thank you. Okay, bye bye. And like they
right.
scared us out the building. We were so
Yeah.
naive and so like innocent in that regard. And like, I don't think in my experiences, I worked with a lot of girls over my career and we just never had cattiness like that.
Yeah.
And it seemed like worse than Mean Girls, worse than like high school. Like, but it had that high school kind of like cattiness to it. But it was so jarring, so scary. I was like, I'm afraid we gotta go. I
It
just
was
never
just
wanted to
so
get the
in
fuck
your
out of there.
face. It wasn't like they're doing something behind your back or like
Yeah.
being sneaky about it. It was they wanted you to see. It was like, get the fuck out of here.
Get the fuck out of here. We don't want you to work here. I can only imagine what it was like at that time for a new girl to start there. My goodness.
God help her.
You know, we were just on a tour. For all they know. What if we just happen to be like female building inspectors? Like,
Yeah.
I just don't know. It's so I would freak out if our staff ever behaved that way. I freak
Mhm.
out if a human in Walmart behaved that way. I'd be like, what the
Yeah.
fuck are you doing? It was crazy. I will never forget it. I remember us calling him after and be like, nice place you got there.
Your staff is top tier.
Top tier, bro. But we still wanted it. Now we were determined none of their staff can stay. We're going to clean house and
Yeah.
start from scratch. But we liked the bones of the place. It needed renovation. It needed modernization. It needed the Muse touch to it. At the time, actually, we didn't even have a name. Muse wasn't a thought. We were going to revamp their current name into something else,
I remember
right?
that.
No, we can't say it because I would know who it is, but it had a ring to it.
I
We
did.
had like a whole logo. We were ready to like design it up and roll with it. And I remember at one of our little meetings, talking to the OG Duck when he finally sat with us for some meetings or on the phone even, um, and telling him a little bit about our plans and that we had all these like visions of what we were going to do with like basically taking his business and remolding it into something else. And like we're excited. We're again young, naive, we're full of like energy and creativity
Mhm.
and naivety and all the things. And we're like, we're gonna bring back the barbecues and we're gonna do this and we're gonna have the girls name this and we're gonna do this on the website. It's gonna be like teams and t-shirts and everyone's gonna have like a cheer and like we're going all like campy with it. And this guy thought it was the fucking dumbest thing that he'd ever in his whole life. I remember him like rudely laughing at us. Like just like you guys, like these kids and their stupid
Yeah.
ideas. He thought we were absolute fools. But we were determined. I'd heard about this place for years throughout my career of its heyday. Not when this OG purchased it, but the previous owner, it was the place to go. And so I remember how excited I was thinking, we'll figure out dealing with him. But like according to me, it was signed sealed. This is going to be our spot, and this is
Mhm.
what we're going to do with it. And so, blah, 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 here's all our ideas. And this guy thought we were absolute crackerjacks. It was absolutely hysterical. I will never forget the look of like almost like disgust on his face. Like you're idiots for thinking that anything good could come from this industry. And really, it showed how jaded he was, first of all,
Yeah.
and kind of by his own doing. Because when you set your environment like that, that's all
Mhm.
you get. That's who you deal with. That's the type of customers you deal with. That's why he fancied his little vendors and all. It was his life, right, and his world, and he created it that way. He's no longer in the industry. Thank goodness. I'll knock on some wood on that one. But I don't want to say he was a bad person. Like I don't think he meant us any harm in that
No.
regard, but he was just so shady and so difficult to deal with. So add in him laughing at any joy that we brought to any conversation. It was frustrating. I was like, stop laughing. Like we're serious. We're gonna have a
Our
barbecue.
ideas.
Right. Like this is for real. We're gonna do this. This is the way it's gonna be, and it's gonna be great. And I remember him being like, he said something along the line sarcastically to me, and he was like, "I'm sure." And you're gonna sell fucking muffins out the front window. And I was like, hmm,
Okay.
I like to bake. Don't tempt me, motherfucker. You never know when I might come out with some like window service and fucking muffins out the front of your spa. There will be muffins at the barbecue. Like it made me more determined, if anything else. And I remember us like kind of brushing off the muffin comments at the time, but
Well,
fast
but
forward.
before we get into the muffins, because there's like We get there. Fast forwarding a bit, we wanted the location. This is the gentleman.
Right.
You know what? I'll explain in full because you may have not watched previous episodes. That he was just hard to negotiate with. Not that we were master negotiators back then, but he would set a price. We would somehow come up with that kind of money. And at that point, he'd say, no, it's going to be 50,000 more, or, whatever the number was. He just wasn't firm on making a deal with us. And I mean, in hindsight, I don't know that he even wanted to sell his location. Like, really, I think he was just playing along with us. But regardless of, we would always come up with the number he was asking for. And finally, this fateful day, sitting down at, I think it was like a Second Cup or Starbucks, we made an agreement. I mean, mind you, it was verbal, but we were all in and we were trusting. And this goes into the story that we've told about my most epic fail. We leave this meeting and go home. And I went to text Emily saying, like, we finally caught this slippery duck, and immediately realized I had sent it to him. It's mortifying, the worst experience. I mean, mistexting anyone's terrible, but to someone who you're mocking by calling him a duck, and it's a business deal. It's our entire livelihood on the line. Like, it was just the most epic fail. And he immediately replied saying, you haven't caught shit yet. And needless to say, that deal never went through. I don't know that it was my fault. I'll always feel like it was, but I have a feeling, like I said, he was never going to sell and he was just messing with us. But at that point, the OG duck was out of the picture. The location was off the table and the hunt continued to find Muse.
You know what's funny is I've never actually blamed you on that. I've never even had this thought that text ruined the whole thing. I just never did. He was just ruining everything on his own. That it was just another piece of the story. So definitely don't blame yourself for that. But it never even occurred to me till you just said it now. I'm like, wait, no, that wasn't you. That was totally him. It was totally him. But it started a whole thing for us with the whole duck hunter thing. And I think it's my favorite thing about us. I think we are awesome duck hunters. When we're on a mission to hunt, we never come home without a catch. We're awesome hunters. This is what we do. And it just helped us. At the time, we were still very in the closet, and it helped us discuss things, especially because social media was up and coming then. It was just Facebook at that time, but it allowed us to discuss things publicly and yet still privately in code. And I remember our family and friends getting a huge kick out of it. And the whole duck hunter thing becoming a thing, which now, like, our staff know most of the story. You know, they make a joke about it, the duck pond, the ducklings, whatever. But like, that's part of the nostalgia. And if there wasn't that's part of the story, it wouldn't be as cute or as funny. So I'm here for your mistext. It's not your only one, but it's definitely one of the funniest business ones.
Well, you know what, that wasn't meant to happen. And I have to trust that the universe, kept us away from that location for a reason. And we ended up where we are, right?
100%. I remember I think we looked at, I want to say 4 other locations, either 4 plus ours or 4 including ours. But I do remember 2 of them 3 of them specifically. So ours must have been the 4th. Because there was 2 out west, 1 north, and then we landed where we were. And you know what's funny is when the guy who built like the bare bones of Muse, where we currently are and have been for 14 years, I remember him sending us a message. And I'm just wondering if you might be looking for a spot. And at the time it was a holistic spa. And I dismissed him really quickly. Like, it's almost like rude in my DM answer. And I was like, absolutely not. That's not what we need. That's not what we're here for. What are you talking? Like, don't bother me with this nonsense. Body rubber bust. Like, totally against it. And I remember begrudgingly, we somehow ended up, however many conversations or DMs later, which over the course of days or weeks, led to us going to see our baby where we are now. And I remember that feeling like the perfect fit right from the minute we walked in.
I know. We fell in love.
Yeah, it totally was. It was such an immediate, same thing happens when you're in the right house. Like you just know. You just know. And that was immediately our love for it. But anyways, back to the muffins. Back to those godforsaken muffins. we did find our spot. We found where we are now. At the time, it was only half built, so we had 3 rooms and then a whole back end of like equal size that was unbuilt. So very much like an unfinished garage, just way at the back, concrete. Um, and as I think we've told in a few episodes how excited we were for opening day, we were dressed up like we were working there instead of owning there. Like, why didn't we put on a suit? I don't know. We thought slut.
Yeah.
That was the attire. We were all excited. And I remember our lawyer giving us a call, being like, guys, it's the big day. I'm going to come by and say hi. And I'm bringing a friend. Dun, dun, dun.
And the
in
friends
yeah, in
the OG duck.
walks the lawyer with the OG duck. And the
Which I
first
have to
thing
assume he knew where he was going, that he was going to come see us.
I
have
mean,
to assume.
maybe I
Maybe
don't know if the
not.
lawyer would be like, we're going on a field trip, just get in the car. I don't know. I mean, they were kind of like buddies, I guess, work, but like industry buddies, acquaintance
Yeah.
buddies, or whatever. They'd hang out and go for beers and stuff together. But I mean, it was middle of the day. It's not like it was like witching hours or anything like that. Like
Yeah.
we purchased a holistic spa, so we were only allowed to be open from 9 till 9. So
Mhm.
they came in daylight hours. And I remember the absolute giddiness I felt because for opening day, we had an old family friend of mine who's a baker make us Muse cupcakes. And like with the logo on top, they were freaking delicious. I will never forget them. They were absolutely some of the best cupcakes I've ever had. And so, lawyer and this stupid duck walk in, and I got in my hot little dress, get to run to the front and be like, "Oh my God, you want a muffin?"
I love it.
He was so pissed. It was so flawless. It was just a chef's kiss moment all around because he was
Oh,
like
these
you
chicks got a spa and
fucking
they
girl.
make muffins. Mhm.
And I mean, technically, we weren't like direct geography neighbors, but we were in the same kind of, I don't know, zone or something, I would call it. Like we were close enough that he must have been thinking, like, oh, great. Now they did it. They're open. They got the stupid muffin. Now they're going to do all these ideas they thought of. Like, these people are going to cause me problems. Like, I know he was just like, oh, God, what's next with these girls?
Yeah.
So bad. But he ate his stupid muffin, and lawyer ate his muffin and loved the muffin. And then at trade shows going forwards for the first couple of years, we made sure to order the same cupcakes. So we still had our stupid muffins. And if anyone who was on the side of like anyone that was against us would be like, want a muffin?
You have
This
to
is my
show the
favorite thing
picture of baby us at our first sex show with the muffins. I know we
with the
have that
muffins.
somewhere.
I
So good.
definitely have it. It's in the archives. We'll get it up here in the episode. We're probably in a little box right now with the muffin pick beside us. So that's that. They were delicious, and she did such a great job making them. And I just absolutely love the fact that nowadays, if I were to give anyone a cupcake, it's totally coming from love. But at the time, it was like, here's a cupcake. Don't choke. Stupid duck.
I love it.
Eat the
I
damn
love
muffin. Eat my
nostalgia.
muffin. It was so much fun. It was so much fun. And his face was just so annoyed, aggravated. Like he just did not care for any of our joy whatsoever. The whole field trip was just an annoyance to him. And like lawyer was super happy. He was giddy, brought us a bottle of champagne. He was like, what? And this guy was like, fuck my life.
Yes.
Yeah. And it was hysterical, absolutely hysterical. I will never forget it as long as I live.
You know what? The OG duck was like the bane of our existence for a period of time. But you know what? I love the story and the
I love
history
the
of
story
it.
too.
And now he's on the pod. So thank you.
Now he's on the pod. Now you're extra famous, bro. I'll make you more muffins one day if you want to come say hello. Absolutely hilarious. And you know what? Some of the plans that we originally spewed at him never came to fruition, but a lot of them did. Like we
Mhm.
followed through on what we said we were going to do, down to the muffins.
Mhm.
And I can only imagine he was kind of the only person in the loop about some of our plans actually at that time. We weren't even telling other friends or anything. Even our lawyer, like he knew we wanted to buy a place, but he didn't know like our marketing plans or, creative
Mhm.
ideas and all this stuff. It was really only this guy. And the fact that he thought it was an absolute joke. And then here we are, 14 and a half years later. Hey, friend. Hi, friend.
But really, I mean,
awesome.
the businesswoman in me today is shaking her head at us. Like, why did we tell him our marketing ideas? Why was that important conversation to have with a potential seller? But we grow, we learn.
We were naive. We were like excited. We overshared to death. I mean, we overshared in our first couple years too much. We've learned and told some of those lessons. Check out the June episodes. And like the overshare, we've definitely learned. Now we like to surprise people with some like pop-up news or give them a couple days notice. But that's all you get from us now. I'm not here to tell you what we're up to because people just either put the wrench in the wheel and attempt to screw things up, or let the cat out the bag early, or anything like that. And now we keep our cats close, and the ducks even closer.
I know.
We should get him a T-shirt one day that says "I'm an OG duck." That'd be
He probably
hilarious.
heard
He probably would.
Thanks for my T-shirt. Where's my cupcake?
Seriously. It's in a little gift basket with love from Muse. Thanks. Hi, friend. I love it.
He remembers us as fondly as we remember him.
I'm sure he rues the day because he could have suckered us for so much money in hindsight. He should have followed through with the deal that we shook hands on, because he would have had us by the balls for many, many, many years. And it would have meant for us a completely different trajectory. Potentially not as much freedom as we have where we are, just based on how that venue was set up. There would have been more eyes, more ears, more nosy, people involved. Like it just would have gone a totally different direction. And so thanks to the universe, whoever and wherever you are, but like saved us, dodged a bullet, got to give out some cupcakes, make some muffin jokes, and here we are.
OG duck story. It was a good one.
OG duck. I love it. I hope this gave you guys a bit of a giggle like it gave us, because thinking back to those times is so funny. The muffins, the hissing, the whole horror. It was a horrific time. It's hilarious. And literally set us up to be where we are now. So I wouldn't change a minute of it, including your mistext. We wouldn't be the duck hunters without it.
I agree.
I love it. All right, guys. I think that wraps up the end of the episode. Make sure you are subscribed to the Patreon. Make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. Follow us on all our social media. Get involved in the comments in the chat. Always suggestions, questions, anything you can send to us at any time. We might throw it in an upcoming episode. You never know. And we will see you on the next episode of Muse on the Mic. Bye, guys.